atau kedua-duanya sekali.
Well, coming to you live from Angkasapuri, Kuala Lumpur, I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos, and you are watching Updates at Noon. Making our headlines today. Well, number of flood evacuees in 5 states rises to over 56,000. But Tabarlo High Court dismissed former diplomat appeal to be released on bail. Good afternoon and salam perpaduan. Well, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the motion of the vote of confidence for Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim passed in the Dewan Rakyat yesterday is a manifestation for all parties, including the government and the opposition, to move forward and focus on developing the country. Well, the Deputy Premier said the motion's success with more voices agreeing reflects the focal point of democracy in which the people, through their elected representatives, have given a clear mandate to the unity government. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said political stability was extremely important so that the people can work together with the unity government to develop the country in a better direction. Well, he said Malaysians today yearn for a government that works and functions for the well-being and prosperity of the country, and therefore economic issues and the cost of living of the people will be the main focus of the unity government. He also said various challenges in the country's economic and financial affairs in the coming year require the support of all parties in ensuring the continuity of people's lives. The Malaysian economy needed to be shifted to a 21st century economy based on digital, technology, added value, creativity and innovation from an economy based on commodities and low-value manufacturing. Now, Minister of Economy Muhammad Rafizi Ramli expressed hope that within these 5 years, the government's dependence from only a few financial sources can be shifted to a combination of stronger, sustainable, diverse and progressive sources of income. Well, commenting further on the matter, Rafizi said Malaysia also needed to build an economic ecosystem that is fair to workers by offering wages that commensurated with qualifications and experiences so that the country has mobility and marketability opportunities on par with the international level. Now, therefore, he said the government or the grouping of those who have the ability to make decisions to implement difficult strategic shifts in this 5-year period is important amid the difficult and challenging global and domestic economic conditions. Muhammad Rafizi said at the same time the country also needed a government that has arbitration and is free to carry out its respective duties, including judicial institutions, parliament and the government, in addition to protecting, empowering and striving for the independence of these institutions. Well, the number of flood evacuees in 5 states climbed to 56,159 people this morning, with Terengganu and Kelantan continuing to record an increase in the number of flood-affected residents compared to yesterday. Well, according to the Terengganu State Disaster Management Committee, or JPBN Secretariat, the number of flood evacuees in the state increased sharply to 37,792 compared to 26,494 people last night, and all of them are taking shelters in 310 PPS activated in 8 districts. Well, Kemaman was the worst affected district with 12,000 affected residents, followed by Besut, 8,228. Hulu Terengganu, 6,691. Setiu, 3,988. Dungun, 2,484. Kuala Nurus with 1,521. Kuala Terengganu, 1,900. And Marang, 980. In Kelantan, it was reported that the number of evacuees rose to 17,326 people from 4,793 families this morning, compared with 14,359 people last night. Well, 106 PPS had been opened in 9 districts in the state, namely Kota Baru, Pasir Mas, Tumpat, Bachok, Tanah Merah, Pasir Putih, Kuala Krai, Machang and Jeli. Meanwhile, in Pahang, the JBPN Secretariat reported that the flood victims placed in 11 PPS in Kuantan and Raub this morning remained at 934 people, the same as recorded last night. Over in Johor, the JBPN Secretariat informed that the number of evacuees in 3 PPS in the Sagama district remained at 53 from 17 families as of 8 a.m. The affected locations in the district are Kampung Seberang Batu Badak, Kampung Batu Lima and Kampung Kuala Paya. In Perak, 54 people from 17 families remain in 2 relief centres, namely Sekolah Kebangsaan or SK Sungai Tiang Darat and Bagan Dato and Sekolah Menengah Abdul Rahman Talib in Hilir, Perak. Well, the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, or KPWKM, has approved emergency procurement of 500,000 ringgit to fund immediate needs and aid to flood victims in Terengganu and Kelantan. Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri said the allocation was to ensure that additional essential goods are stocked at stores, mini depots and forward bases in the affected districts. Elaborating further through a statement released last night, the minister said the Social Welfare Department or JKM staff will continue to monitor and be prepared at all times in the affected areas. Regarding the issue of road access being cut off in Hulu Besut, Terengganu, Dato Sri Nancy said a meeting with the State Police Chief and State Department heads decided that the Fire and Rescue Department's helicopter would be deployed for JKM to send aid. She also noted that agencies such as the Public Works Department, the Department of Agriculture and the Kuala Terengganu District Council that have heavy vehicles or large trucks will gather at the Marang JKM Disaster Depot to distribute food and goods. She added that victims who are unable to move to PBS or evacuation centres can gather at other public venues such as community rehabilitation centres, and then JKM, together with the Disaster Operations Control Centre, will register them with PPS on an ad hoc basis to get food and basic needs. Based on the Malaysian Meteorological Department's report, strong winds and heavy rain will continue to lash the east coast until 21st December, and this is expected to lead to more areas being flooded. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, has been directed to resolve any telecommunication network issues in flood-affected states, especially in relief centres. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the MCMC had also been instructed to take immediate action in the event of telecommunications-related problems.
Setiap beberapa jam akan berhubung dengan pihak SKMM untuk bertanya apakah status capaian akses sama ada 4G ataupun internet di pusat-pusat pemindahan sementara ini. Saya lihat yang penting waktu ini adalah pastikan jaringan telekomunikasi itu tidak tergendala, dan sekiranya ada maka pihak SKMM perlu bertindak segera untuk memastikan masalah itu dapat diselesaikan.
The minister noted that at the moment, the issue that is being faced is that the number of victims being evacuated is quite large. However, Fahmi noted that so far he has not yet received any complaints from the National Disaster Management Agency or relevant ministers about telecommunications problems at relief centres. Fahmi added that the Cabinet in its meeting tomorrow would focus on the actions to be taken by the ministries and agencies involved in dealing with the flood issue in the affected states. Now, 5 states, namely Terengganu, Kelantan, Pahang, Johor and Perak, have been hit by floods so far, with the number of victims still increasing. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC, has advised members of the public to stop sharing the video clip of 3 sisters being electrocuted after their house was flooded in Kelantan yesterday, so as to respect the privacy of the family. In a statement released yesterday, the MCMC said stopping such action will also give room to the authorities to carry out a thorough investigation into the incident. The MCMC said the Commission will also take proactive measures by taking up the matter to the attention of service-providing platforms like Meta, Twitter and TikTok to curb efforts to viral the incident. The Commission also advised social media users to lodge a report about the sensitive content of the incident because such contents are not suitable for public viewing. In the incident, Nur Fatiha Muhammad Nazir, 27, Sakina, 29, and Nurul Shazwani, 33, died of electrocution at the place of incident at 11:30 a.m. while walking in their house, or rather flooded house, at Kampung Bendang Surau near Morak in Kota Baru. The Temerloh High Court yesterday dismissed the application of a former diplomat and his son to be released on bail, pending trial on 3 drug charges, including allegedly planting ganja trees in May this year. Judicial Commissioner Roslan Matnor, in deciding this against Dato' Zainal Abidin alias age 78 and his son Muhammad Rizal, 53, said the charges they face under the Dangerous Drugs Act or DDA 1952 were non-bailable offences and fixed 27 February for case remention. Now, earlier lawyer Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, representing both the accused, submitted that Section 41B of the DDA encroach into the powers and discretion of the judiciary by taking away the judicial power of granting or refusing bail to an accused. He also submitted that despite not being easy for the courts to grant bail in dangerous drugs-related offences, it is still entirely for the courts to hear an application for bail to make the determination having regard to the facts and circumstances of the case and the exercise of the court's discretionary power. The applicants, according to Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi, provide their undertaking to attend all court proceedings and understand that their bail, if granted, can be revoked if they fail to attend court. On 3rd June, Dato' Zainal Abidin, the former Malaysian ambassador to Indonesia, and Muhammad Rizal were charged at the Magistrates Court in Bentong with trafficking ganja and possessing cannabis oil at Kampung Sumsum Hilir, Janabai, Bentong on 21st May. Still to come, 6 people, including suspect, killed in Toronto condo building shooting. That and more in our foreign segment. But first, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim expressed his dream of visiting an independent Palestine. Now, the wish was shared by the Premier when he was personally invited by Palestine President Mahmoud Abbas via a phone call yesterday, made by the latter to congratulate him on his appointment as the 10th Prime Minister. Now, in the conversation, Mahmoud, who invited Dato' Sri Anwar to visit Palestine at any time, said Palestine would be honoured to receive him in their land. Now, during the over 6-minute conversation, Mahmoud also expressed his appreciation for the Premier's support for the Palestinians. Dato' Sri Anwar said his administration would continue supporting the just cause for Palestinians and condemn all sorts of harassment and attempt to dispose of the rights of the Palestinians. While thanking Dato' Sri Anwar for the support, Mahmoud said Palestine wanted to open all its doors for trade and cooperation, as well as economic relations between Palestine and Malaysia. Now, Dato' Sri Anwar said generally Malaysians are in full support and follow the developments in Palestine, and it was made a part of Malaysian struggle, and he himself had been following issues in Palestine since 1973. Now, the Prime Minister said during the conversation he and Mahmoud reiterated their readiness to strengthen bilateral relationship between Malaysia and Palestine in various fields, including in trade, people-to-people ties and education. Well, 6 people, including a 73-year-old suspect, died and 1 person was wounded in a shooting at a residential building in the Canadian city of Vaughan on Sunday. The Vaughan Police Chief Jim McSween said the suspect had been identified as Francesco Villa, a resident of the building. However, no further information was shared about any potential motive. Now, McSween said police were called about an active male shooter who had shot several victims at a condominium in Vaughan, less than 50 kilometers north of downtown Toronto, at about 7:20 p.m. local time. Now, police found and fired at the suspect in a hallway, and he was pronounced dead about 40 minutes later. Authorities then recovered dead bodies from several floors, as well as a semi-automatic handgun that is suspected to be the weapon used in the shooting. The York Regional Police Department said it was working to confirm the identities of the victims and inform their families. Canada has much stricter gun laws than the United States, but Canadians are allowed to own firearms providing they have a license. Restricted or prohibited firearms, like handguns, must also be registered. Well, the first banknotes bearing the image of King Charles III are set to enter circulation by mid-2024. The Bank of England said that the portrait of the king will appear on existing designs of all four polymer banknotes, 5, 10, 20 and 50 pound notes, with no other changes to the existing designs. Now, the central bank said the king's image will appear on the front of the banknotes, as well as in cameo in the see-through security window. The new banknotes feature an engraved portrait of Charles based on a photograph owned by the royal household and made available in 2013. The design was finalized in the recent months and approved by the king, with the notes to be mass-produced from the first half of 2023. Now, current polymer banknotes carrying the Queen's portrait will remain legal tender, which can continue to be used. The central bank said the new notes will only be printed to replace worn predecessors and to meet any overall increase in demand, adding that would minimize the environmental and financial impact of the change. That means from mid-2024 onwards, notes featuring both monarchs will co-circulate. Now, Charles, 74, became king after the death in September of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, the first coins bearing his likeness entered circulation earlier this month. Well, former movie producer Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of rape in a trial in Los Angeles on Monday, the second conviction for the one-time Hollywood kingmaker who became the face of #MeToo sexual abuse allegations 5 years ago. Well, according to the Los Angeles Superior Court, the jury found Weinstein guilty of rape, forcible oral copulation, and sexual penetration by foreign object involving one woman, but acquitted him of charges relating to a second alleged victim. Now, it added the jury could not reach a verdict on two allegations, including rape by Jennifer Sable Newsom, the wife of California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, and did not reach a verdict on charges relating to one other woman. Now, Weinstein, 70, is already serving a 23-year prison sentence after being convicted of sexual misconduct in New York. Weinstein faces up to 18 years in prison on the counts for which he was convicted, but aggravating factors could increase that to 24 years. Now, lawyers returned to court today to deliver arguments about aggravating factors. In Los Angeles, Weinstein faced 7 counts of rape and sexual assault from 4 women during encounters between the years 2004 and 2013. Now, Weinstein had said all of his sexual encounters were consensual and had pleaded not guilty. Defense attorneys argued that the women willingly had sex with Weinstein because they believed he would help their careers. Part of what they said was a widespread casting cough culture in the film industry. Now, Weinstein was convicted of sexual misconduct in New York in February 2020. In sports, French forward Karim Benzema announces retirement from international duty. Well, after making thorough preparations for 3 weeks, the Harimau Malaya are ready to fight for the first 3 points against Myanmar in the opening Group B match of the 2022 ASEAN Football Federation or AFF Cup in Yangon tomorrow. Now, team captain Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim said it was crucial to win the clash at the Tuwuna Stadium in order to boost the morale of the side, which features many new faces. Well, elaborating further, Muhammad Faisal said with tight schedule throughout the tournament, a victory against Myanmar would definitely boost the national squad's morale before their match with Laos this Saturday.
kita sebagai pemain, kita hanya perlu menjalankan tanggungjawab kita dengan betul dan bagi komitmen yang baik. Dalam liga sebelum ni pun jadual kita agak padat, tapi dalam international kita tak boleh samakan. Liga kita dah main 2-3 hari satu game, 2-3 hari satu game. Dalam international game laju, tough, kita tak boleh expect hari ni kita main, lusa kita nak main situasi yang sama. So pada saya memang suka sebenarnya, tapi kita sebagai pemain, inilah cabaran yang terbesar untuk seorang pemain.
He was met at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport yesterday prior to national squad departure to Myanmar. Malaysia are on track to starting the biennial tournament in style after 2 convincing wins over Cambodia with a 4-0 score and Maldives 3-0 in Tier 1 international friendlies recently. Well, after meeting Myanmar, Pangong's men will face Laos in Bukit Jalil on 24th December. Vietnam in Hanoi, 27 December, before receiving a visit from Singapore in Bukit Jalil. That will be 3rd January for the last group fixture. Meanwhile, reigning champions Thailand said they would not look down on Harimau Malaya despite the majority of the squad were made up from new faces. Its head coach, Mano Polking, said through Malaysia's victories against Cambodia and Maldives, it is very apparent that the squad is coping well with international games pressure.
It's very clear Malaysia is one of the strongest teams, especially in that format again now where we have home and away games. We know how good, crazy the fans of Malaysia are. They will be full in the stadium. The stadium will be full. I mean, they will support the team. We know also the last results from Thailand and Malaysia, how tough it was, the games. We just played them in the King's Cup. Yeah, it's very clear for me that Malaysia will be one of the candidates to be able to lift that trophy.
He said this in a pre-match press conference against Brunei. Polking also expressed his hope that Malaysia will make it to the semi-finals to square off against his men once again. Now, the last time Malaysia met with Thailand was in September when they were playing for the Thai Kings Cup. And for this edition of AFF, Malaysia are placed in Group B along with Vietnam, Singapore, Myanmar and Laos, while Thailand are in Group A with Philippines, Cambodia, Indonesia and Brunei. Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema called time on his tumultuous international career with France on Monday, a day after the defending champions' World Cup final defeat to Argentina. Benzema, who scored 37 goals in 97 appearances for France, had to withdraw from the World Cup squad before their first match in Qatar due to a left thigh injury he suffered in training. Now, the 35-year-old Real Madrid forward announces retirement on his Twitter page yesterday to the surprise of fans and football world. Now, Benzema, who won the Ballon d'Or award for the world's best player in October, had been desperate to feature in this year's World Cup, having not been selected when France became world champions in Russia 4 years ago. Well, he was frozen out of the France team for 5.5 years because of his involvement in a blackmail scandal over a sex tape involving his former teammate Mathieu Valbuena. Now, for the Qatar World Cup, French coach Didier Deschamps opted not to call up a replacement for a squad that included 23-year-old Kylian Mbappe, with Benzema's name was still officially on the squad list until the end of the tournament. Now, a knock to his left thigh in training while he was recovering from a niggling right thigh problem was estimated to need a recovery time of 3 weeks. Now, freed from the weight of national duty, Benzema will now be able to devote himself to Real Madrid, where he has won the Champions League 5 times and helped them to 4 Spanish titles. Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti said he plans to stay at the Spanish club until his contract expires in June 2024, following reports of a possible move to the Brazilian national team. While the Italian boss said he remains focused on his current role at Madrid as the team looks to defend their La Liga, Spanish Super Cup and Champions League titles and prepare for the Club World Cup in February. During an Italian radio show, Ancelotti said he has no idea on what the future holds for him, but he has a lot of objectives for this season. And with his contract ending on June 2024, the Italian said he will not move unless Real Madrid decide to sack him. Now, the 63-year-old also praised the work of Argentina coach Lionel Scaloni after his side were crowned World Cup champions following their victory over France in the final. He added the Argentine did an extraordinary job and stick to what is working, where he put the players in place and gave them a good defensive organization. Ancelotti's Real Madrid or Real will resume their season on 30th December as they look to regain the La Liga top spot, where Barcelona sit 2 points ahead. Sinisa Mihajlovic, who played for and coached numerous Italian Serie A teams and was famed for his spectacular free kicks, died on Friday in Paedea International Hospital in Rome after a long battle with cancer. Now, Mihajlovic was sacked as manager of Serie A club Bologna in September after they failed to record a win in their first 5 league matches. The Serbian had become Bologna manager for the second time in 2019 and had been in charge while battling leukemia. Now, his playing career included lengthy spells at Sampdoria and Lazio, and he also managed Serbia. He also managed a number of clubs, including AC Milan. A defender, or rather a midfielder, Mihajlovic scored a number of spectacular goals from free kicks. Well, he made his name as part of the Red Star Belgrade team that won the European Cup in 1991. He moved to Italy the following year when he joined AS Roma and went on to play for Sampdoria, Lazio and Inter. And he was part of squads that won Serie A title with Lazio in 2000 and then Inter in 2006 in his last season as a player. His coaching career began at Bologna in 2008 and took in stints at Catania, Fiorentina, Sampdoria and Torino, as well as AC Milan, where he was in charge for less than a year.
Why do we tell you stories?
Relevant,
New,
efficient,
accurate.
reliable. We bring you extraordinary stories from around the world, from politicians, bankers, and even your favorite celebrities. This and many more on RTM's English News.
And with that, we reach the end of Updates at Noon. And wrapping up our bulletin today with a reminder of our headlines. Now, the number of flood-affected residents in 5 states rises to over 56,000 overnight. Now, don't forget to join us again tonight at 10 p.m. for more news on Saluran Berita RTM, or you can catch it online on RTM's Click website or mobile app. Till then, I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Thanks for watching. May you have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.